Welcome one, welcome all to DeFi Crypto and Airdrops. I am Mike, aka Veteran Crypto, and with me, as always, on Tuesdays and Fridays is Jeff, aka the Blockchain Report. How's it going, brother?
Going great, going fantastic. Ready for some Thanksgiving feast this week. So looking forward to that, and hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. Yeah, just doing great. How are you doing over there in the cold PNW?
It was actually 20 degrees this morning.
Ooh,
So yeah,
get
it's
frosty.
starting to get spicy. I walked out to the mailboxes about a half a mile out to the road. And
Mm.
so I walked out there I had to get my delivery of Earl Grey tea. So
Ooh,
yeah, it was a brisk walk this morning. So, but it's good. It's good for the soul.
cutting some glass with those nips, man.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Just out there. But well, let's go ahead and jump into the socials and let's get right into this.
Yeah, well, we appreciate everyone for joining us here at DeFi Crypto and Airdrops, where me and Mike go live every Tuesday and Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, where we dive deep into your favorite projects or projects that you might not have heard of before. So we like giving you the latest alpha. Mike also goes live other days throughout the week, Mondays with Money Talks at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Wednesdays with a DeFi Masterclass at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Interviews on Thursdays at 2 p.m. And like I said, our show Tuesdays and Fridays. And Mike has a host of information on getting started in DeFi from beginner to advanced, I would say, or even intermediate. I don't know. It's a lot of great stuff to get you started, all for free. And our brother channels provide even more information on different areas of DeFi, like Jake Call and DeFi University, Blockchain Basement and Discover Crypto for your more degen stuff and crypto news. And Jake Call has Metrics Finance, a great DeFi portfolio tracker that is free to start out with. I would say use that first, and if you're not experienced in DeFi, but his elite package is incredible. I mean, Mike can attest to that as he's been using it for a while. But this pricing does go away at the end of the month, so you have probably about a week, less than a week, and they do have monthly memberships available for
And you
that.
know what? I'll be honest. The if you do end up paying for it, uh, if unless I'm mistaken, I would do it monthly because I did the math on it, and $50 a month. Okay, no, never mind, never mind. All right, never mind.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
up.
you got the 12.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah. So also David's DeFi University is 97 a month. If you want more, they have daily mentorship classes Monday through Friday, and private one-on-one coaching, a 6 mastery course from beginner to advanced. So a little more, a lot more community members in there. There's some people that have joined our community and in our free Discord. All of these links are down below. Great resources and people to collaborate with and share ideas off of. And Mike's awesome DeFi Wise newsletter. They've been crushing it.
Mhm.
You're starting to get some testimonials coming in too. So that's wonderful to see. So those will be shared out here soon. I mean, how's that been going, Mike?
It's been going good. I mean, we've been doing it Monday through Fridays. Every morning I usually get it out by 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that'd be about 9 o'clock, Eastern. But people have been loving it. I mean, we've been getting all of the ranges right. We've been getting the a lot of the data and a lot of the news that we have been compiling has been working out really well for people. It's only $20 a month, and you get it like,
Mhm.
again, every morning, Monday through Friday. But yeah, no, it's been great.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. They've been hitting the zones almost exactly on the money. So check that out and save yourself all the time and hassle from trying to find all the research yourself because there's a lot that goes into it. But you can check us on Twitter at the_only_DCA. You can catch Mike at Veteran4Crypto and me at the BCR142. and we're streaming on the pump.fun as well. And and then if you're on Twitter and you're in the chat, jump over on YouTube, follow us there, right here, DeFi Crypto Airdrop, and join the chat because I know Twitter has issues with their whole chat shit.
Yeah, you got to have the blue check mark to chat. It's kind of bullshit, but it is what it is.
But yeah, we appreciate y'all, and let's get into this. So,
all right. Well, let me throw my screen up real quick. Well, where should we start? Where should we start? Let's start here. All right. So, here we go. All right. So basically, what I want to talk about, and I sent you the link on X if you want to bring up that article, Jeff.
yeah, this just FAQ right here.
Yeah, that FAQ. So let me put my screen up. Add to scene. All right. All right. So let's actually start here. So here's some of the latest news that we were able to compile. So what is it? Today, it looks like the Dromos Labs CEO, Alexander Cutler, reiterated Arrow's role in unifying Ethereum liquidity under one token and protocol, linking it to a recent or FAQ addressing community questions on migration and incentives. Aerodrome's Public Goods Fund announced a 609,000 Arrow buyback. And this is something that they're doing on a regular basis. And this kind of plays into what me and David were talking about last Wednesday. You know, as far as the tokenomics, I mentioned that the new Arrow token was going to be 85% deflationary and things like that. This is one of the key mechanics of how that's possible, because he was 100% right. Without any of the mechanisms in place, Arrow itself would be inflationary because there's always new tokens being minted. So there's more and more tokens, and if they weren't being locked by the protocol, and if they weren't being max locked by people like me and people in our community that do Arrow locks, and people that have it in the VE Arrow Maxi relay that auto compounds and things like that, then yes, then Arrow would be greatly inflationary, and honestly, it would be a lot like the black token and things like that. But Aerodrome is different than other VE33 models, whereas it has these mechanisms in place that take tokens out of circulation. So there's buybacks. There's anything that's not paid out to VE Arrow holders or paid out to people providing liquidity is max locked by the protocol. So it's constantly max locking Arrow tokens and taking them out of circulation. But let's go ahead and continue on. Totaling 3 million plus this month, with over 150 million Arrow locked to date via buybacks and incentives, reducing net inflation below 5% Q2 2026. That's what I was just talking about. So November 24th, yesterday, analysts highlighted Arrow's potential as a catalyst for DeFi efficiency, with projections for 177 to 300 million in annual revenue post-launch. Smart money flows, for example, Coinbase and Animoca Brands and Wintermute continue locking VE Arrow. That's what I was just talking about with the locks, signaling confidence ahead of the Ethereum mainnet rollout. Arrow price hit about 69 cents. That doesn't matter. November 22nd, Aerodrome and Velodrome front end suffered a DNS attack, a hijack attack, leading to temporary downtime. And those of you that don't know about this, basically what happened was the Web 2 URL aspect of the Aerodrome platform was exploited. They found it, locked it down. It was reported that about 700,000 of liquidity was potentially at risk. Aerodrome immediately said that they would be issuing grants. So if you're out there and for some reason you were affected by this, go to the Discord, the Aerodrome Discord, go to the support section and submit a support ticket. They're going to be issuing grants. So I'm sure they're going to ask, what your wallet address and, some questions. Your public. Don't ever give your seed phrase or anything like that, but your public address.
Yeah.
But what they're going to be doing is basically, getting people back, what they lost. To what extent, I haven't heard any reports yet. I want to be 100% transparent with you. But led to a temporary downtime. Last I looked, the main aerodrome URL was still down. However, in our Discord, yesterday or the day before, we were actually posting the alternate URLs that were safe. So, people that are in our community, were able to, check on their locks. They were able to check on their liquidity pools and, all of their DeFi that they had on Aerodrome, even though that the main URL was down because they were part of our community. And, because you're a part of a community, you have a bunch, like a hive mind, and people out there finding information and sharing it with the group. So that's why it's so great to be a part of a community.
And it's free.
And it's free. But it says smart contracts remained secure and users were directed to mirror sites. That's what I was just talking about. No funds were lost, unlike a 100K incident in November of 2023, but it underscores the risks during the transition. Dromos confirmed this will not impact the Q2 2026 timeline for the new platform. November 20th, Dromos Labs teased the AER and REV engines' impact, stating that it could have slashed Aerodrome's historical inflation by 85%. Again, this is what I was talking about on that last Wednesday, if deployed earlier. These will be core to Aero's launch. November 17th, Aerodrome shared a Q2 preview. This was one of the last episodes we did. We shared some of the videos. If you want to watch it, you can go to Aerodrome's X profile, and they have a bunch of the videos, or you can go to Dromos, and they have a bunch of the videos that go into nerdy detail about everything that we're talking about here and much, much more. If you're interested in, really getting in, digging in on the new Aero platform and the new token. Aerodrome shared Q2 preview, emphasizing Aero as the best place to trade, earn, and launch on chain with a guided user experience for pool creation and 100% swap fees to LPs. So basically 100%, and this is the way it always has been, 100% of swap fees on Aerodrome has always gone to liquidity providers. Either that or it ends up going to VE Aero holders or, people that have locks. There is no business or organization that takes profits from the platform. That's one of the things that I love about it.
Because you don't have insiders dumping the token like that, right?
Yeah, you don't have the team, you don't have VCs, you don't have all of that stuff. And that's another thing why I liked Canton Network so much is it was a fair launch. There's no VC, tokens, and there was no team tokens. All right. So let's look at this. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on some of that stuff while I kind of look through some more of this?
The hack, I'm really interested with, because it was the front end that was hacked, and that made me wonder how many people had their wallets compromised, because that is a similar thing that happened with my wallet last year when the testnet that was my wallet was still connected to got hacked. And, I didn't do anything weird. It was just I connected to this testnet and my wallet was still connected, and the front end got hacked. And I guess through that, they have access to your full wallet, and I got drained of everything. So I know Aerodrome is giving grants and stuff to up to a certain amount, but I wonder if there were anyone who had that same thing with my wallet, where these people just have their whole wallets compromised now. But I'd have to look into that more. You hate to see that, man, but now every time, if not daily, every other day, no, daily, yeah, I disconnect from everything in my wallet, and every couple days I'll go in Rabby wallet. There's a place that says revoke approvals or approvals, and you can revoke transactions that you've approved. And because these smart contracts, some of them can still be hacked. And if your wallet has a smart contract that's approved still, and that contract gets hacked, it can get access to your wallet, not specifically the whole wallet, but that asset itself. So let's say you have 100,000 in USDC that you've swapped, $1,000 of USDC in the past, and that smart contract gets compromised or corrupted. Somebody can have access to your full amount of USDC, or for however much you approved the spending cap on for. So you want to make sure that you're going through and making sure you revoke approvals and disconnect from sites after you're done using it, because you just never know. And
All right.
and there's something about V2, right? The V2 pools that you were talking about that might have security vulnerabilities.
No, that's something else. Well,
Okay.
let's get to some of these questions. So, C Wild says, I think Alexander from Arrow said the site migration is occurring this week. That is correct. So later on this week, I just checked. It doesn't look like the main URL is back up. But again, you can use the alternate URLs if you want to jump in our Discord. We've posted them in there. And I'm sure that you can find them on the X profiles for Aerodrome and Dromos and all that.
I'll actually pin that in our Discord. I'll pin it to the
Oh, okay, cool.
pin things.
Pax Banter, is the exploit fixed now? No, it's not fixed, but you don't need to worry about it because they basically disconnected the URLs from the Aerodrome site. So if you go to aerodrome.finance, it won't bring up the protocol. So it basically, that URL doesn't have access, to the protocol. So again, you have to access it through the alternate URLs. All right. Let's go through some of this stuff because there's actually quite a bit to go through here. So this is the frequently asked questions about the coming upgrade and migration. So what is Arrow? Actually, you know what? You go ahead and read some of this. I've read the last one.
Yeah, so what is Arrow? A forthcoming unified liquidity layer built on the MetaDex 03 operating system from Dromos Labs. It will coordinate a cross-chain liquidity network, providing an efficient and streamlined way for users to trade, earn, and launch tokens across the on-chain economy. And that's going to be the merge with Velodrome, right?
So yes, basically to summarize this, what's about to happen, and this is Q2 of 2026, is Dromos Labs is the one that built Velodrome first and then built Aerodrome. Aerodrome, for whatever reason, the name or the fact that Coinbase got behind it, took off and is a massive part of the base network. Last I looked, it was like over 60% of the volume on the base network.
Ooh.
And so what they're doing is they're just going to combine the two. So the Velo token, the Arrow token is going to become the Arrow token, and the platforms are going to merge into a whole new platform. And we're going to get into some of the details. What that's going to entail is a bunch of new automations, a new interface, a lot of really cool functionality that the current platform doesn't have, and that those of us in DeFi have been wanting for a really long time, and why we use platforms like VFAT for auto compounding and auto harvesting and auto rebalancing and things like that. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so Arrow will provide 3 core functions: trade, earn, and launch. the trade, swap tokens across a multi-chain ecosystem. It will automatically route trades through the deepest, most efficient slipstream V3 liquidity on any connected chain.
So
Earn, oh,
hold on, real quick, and
yeah,
then this on each one, I'll kind of expound on what's going on with it. So basically, with the trade, with the swapping of tokens in the multi-chain ecosystem, right now, Aerodrome is only on Base Network.
mm-hmm.
But as you know, if you're in DeFi, platforms like Uniswap and things like that, they're multi-chain. So, and we'll get into what chains are going to be on the new platform here in
And
a minute.
Velodrome is multi-chain as well, so that,
Mhm. And so
yeah.
that's part of that migration. So what's going to be happening is that in the new user interface, it's going to allow you basically with either a single click or 2 or 3 clicks, you're going to be able to bridge swap. Like if you want to enter a pool, you can just pick the liquidity, kind of like you do on VFAT, where you can just pick whatever token you want to deposit into a liquidity pool, and based off of the ranges that you select and the different variables, it will automatically swap for the assets that you need to enter that liquidity pool. So
Nice.
instead of having to do a bunch of math and pat your stomach and your head at the same time, and
Hop on one foot.
just do all hop up and down and do all kinds of crazy shit to get into a liquidity pool. Basically, you can just say, I want to get in that liquidity pool. This is the liquidity I want to use to get into it, and click, click, boom, you're in. So that's that.
Yeah, saves you a bunch of time and fees
Yes.
too, because that all that shit can
And
add
the
up.
learning curve.
Oh, and
I
the
mean,
learning curve. Yeah,
that's a big part of why a lot of people don't do DeFi is it's complicated and annoying, and
hmm,
not knowing, okay, what token, okay, I swapped for Ethereum, why isn't it working? It's like, oh, because that Ethereum's on ETH mainnet, not on Base Network. Or, that USDC is, on Solana and not on, Ethereum mainnet. It's when you're new, it's like, I have USDC, why isn't this working? So
yeah. Oh, and now they have USDC.E, and then you're like, oh well, shit. Now I have to swap for this.
yeah, and God forbid that you accidentally, get some other, stable coin that, and you're like, why, yeah, why isn't this working? And yeah, it's annoying. So yeah, this will take care of all that.
So you'll be able to earn Arrow rewards by providing liquidity in these pools, or earn voting rewards as a token operator,
It,
which is the
real,
VE Arrow voter.
Sorry, real quick, can
Go for
somebody
it.
ban Travis B6X? It's that whoever that freaking homo is that ALX. They keep shilling this ALX 2049 token. So if one of the mods can ban Travis, I'm sick of it. They've been doing it in blockchain basement and
Oh
Discover
shit!
Crypto as well.
Damn.
Not that you care, you're not fucking welcome here. All right,
Hey,
move
thanks,
on.
Jay and Nick.
Appreciate you, Jay.
Um, yeah. So you get voting Arrow rewards by providing liquidity, or earn voting rewards as a token operator. That's where the VE Arrow voter comes in. Um, when you lock up, when you use the locks, you get the VE Arrow, and Vet also does a update each Wednesday before
Mhm.
the voting ends to remind everyone to go vote. Make sure you get your rewards before the cutoff time. Arrow will include Autopilot, which is a suite of automation tools designed to make participation simple. Have you looked into? Have they announced any more details on Autopilot and what that would look like?
Yes. Yeah, and we can get into that. But that's basically what I was talking about. A lot of those functionalities is what that autopilot's going to be. But yeah, we'll get into that.
Okay. All right. And launch. So bootstrap and scale liquidity for new or existing token projects. Builders and token issuers will be able to create markets using Arrow Launch, Arrow Ignition, or Arrow Verified, each designed for different project stages and needs. So like a venture capital type thing or startup. What is
Well,
that? The
well, kind of like whenever we've been those of us
seed
in the
round.
community, we've been voting on um, that. I'm sure you heard us talking about it. Basically,
Mhm.
on Wednesdays when we all go in there to launch, there's been like this Arrow launch or Arrow ignition um, pools. And so they're basically like new project, new tokens, and they incentivize you for voting for it. And so basically you end up getting like an airdrop. It it varies every time. The first one that we did was pretty sizable. And then the second one was just kind of okay, but they're different every time. So and you don't know what you're going to get until you vote for it. So it's and it depends on how much VE arrow you have, dictates how much of the pool that you get. So it's just another really cool way to earn.
Yeah. Yeah, and it gets the community involved and more incentivized to be involved in the platform and stuff.
Well, it helps to jumpstart liquidity pools for tokens as
For
well,
new
because
projects.
that's a big thing. Like Canton Network right now,
Mhm.
because it's an L1 on its own, out there, flying blind, and it's not, on base network or anything like that, to where it has these kind of jump starts. Basically, it
Right.
takes people like us to start a liquidity pool and to seed it with liquidity. And
Hmm.
so we just got to kind of get people to, pile in and put all of our put all of our pennies together to get enough liquidity, and to give people a place to swap and between assets and whatnot. So it's kind of hard to get those kinds of things going, but with this, it's going to make that a lot easier. So
Yeah.
because
Uh,
without liquidity pools, you can't really swap, because there needs to be liquidity, for you to
mhm.
swap.
Yeah. And since the banks aren't really involved here, it's all on the community. That's true decentralization right there. So yeah, yeah, Jay. That's So how does Arrow bring Velodrome and Aerodrome together? And I was wondering early on, like a little over a year ago, why they were separate if they were built by the same team. And I was like, they should really merge these two. And here we are.
Yeah, not. Yeah, I'm not too sure either.
So Arrow will unify both these platforms to deliver a cohesive cross-chain meta DEX. One liquidity layer across chains, a single token that concentrates value capture and coordination, which is the Arrow token,
Well,
unified governance, and
real quick, I
yeah.
want people to understand what one liquidity layer across chains means. It seems like a very simple statement, but it's not. This is huge, because having one liquidity layer on one chain is great. You have liquidity, it's on that chain, but when you start to have, and we'll go over the list of all the chains that are going to be on this. When you start adding, Base and Ethereum and Optimism and the liquidity on all these different chains, all accessible on one platform, that is a massive. I mean, that is,
Hmm.
the liquidity is on steroids. That's like having, all the stable coins across all the chains accessible, instead of just the USDC on Base. Now you have USDC on all the different chains, or all the different wrapped Bitcoin, and all the different Bitcoin variations, that are on all those different chains. You have access to all that liquidity. So this is going to, one, make a lot more pools, a lot more different pairs, and a lot more fees being generated for us to earn with. So this is huge. I know that's like five little words. And so I wanted to make sure that we pause there, because those five little words are probably the most powerful five words in this whole thing. That the amount of liquidity that is going to be flowing through this for us to earn fees on is just going to go through the roof. And that's why me and people in the community that have VE Arrow, locks, and that are stacking Arrow, are doing everything they can to stack Arrow right now. Because when this all happens, and the new Arrow token launches and is 85% deflationary, potentially that's going to, ramp up the price of the new Arrow token. And then with all this new functionality and ways to earn, and all these different things, the influx of liquidity and volume, and all these different things, it's going to make holding the Arrow token all that much more profitable. So go ahead.
Oh, and you bring up a good point with especially the revenue being generated, because some chains might have more volume than others. And if you
Yeah.
don't have access to that chain, all these chains don't necessarily talk to each other. So if you have one platform that can kind of reach out and say, talk to all of them, and it's like, oh, this chain is getting more revenue, so we're going to be able to bring it all into one place. That's amazing for your
Well,
bag.
and the bridging,
And the
being
bridging,
able to
yeah.
bridge, on, on, and then the gas fees,
Mhm.
making affordable gas fees, being able to pay gas fees in, whatever token. It doesn't have to be, Ethereum, because it will actually swap for, whatever you need to pay the gas fees. It's just going to simplify the whole process. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for making sure everyone understands that, because some of this technical stuff does kind of go over people's heads, and it's good to really
Oh,
just
some of it, shit. Some of it goes over my head. It's like it's. I mean, I'm still learning, a lot of this stuff.
yeah. So the single token, who says Arrow, and a unified governance and economics through the VE Arrow, and that's using the locks, right, where you
Well,
can
well,
vote
well, the
on.
governance is the voting. So, basically
Yeah,
being able to vote and stuff like that.
but you get VE Arrow for having the locks, for
Well, you
locking up your Arrow token.
basically VE arrow just means voting. Voting arrow. So it's whenever you lock arrow, you get for every one arrow you get one VE arrow. And so that's basically your token that says that you are authorized to vote and dictates how much of a vote you get. So somebody that has 2,000 VE arrow isn't going to have as much voting power as somebody with a million VE arrow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Seamless cross-chain routing powered through MetaSwaps. Expanded value streams through the Rev engine. I'm not sure what that might be, their back-end integration to capture the
let's
value from all chains.
let's actually do this real quick.
Rev engine. Hey, Miles.
Yeah.
Yo, tell me everything.
I can hit
Well,
you.
I'm hoping that you'll tell me everything, Miles.
Fair enough.
All
Keep it
right.
universal. I like it.
So,
So,
Miles, we're live right now with Jeff and the crew, and we're talking about the new Aerodrome platform that's coming Q2 of 2026. And we're kind of reading through some of the details, and it's talking about how Aero and Velodrome, Aerodrome and Velodrome are going to be merging, and it's mentioning something called an REV engine, or Romeo Echo Victor engine. It says expanded value streams through the Rev engine. Can you explain to us as simply as possible what is the REV engine?
okay, so digging into this, basically the area every initiative. Basically, the RV engine is how Aerodrome is trying to juice returns for Vevelo holders, folks who've locked up their Velo tokens. For it's kind of like a boosted rewards system. Aero Capital and Velodrome both have these systems for rewarding V token holders. Aerodrome is basically merging those, creating this REV engine to funnel more fees and rewards to people who are committed to the platform long term. It's intended to make Velo more valuable because the more fees flowing through the engine, the better payouts. Does that make sense?
It
It's a
does.
bit dense, honestly. Good.
I appreciate
Because
it.
sometimes no problem. It's kind
All right. So
Okay.
yeah, so basically it sounds like what it is it's the mechanics behind, it's the logic behind the the machine that as these fees are generated, on the platforms and paid out to the VE Arrow holders or the VE Velo holders, then this is going to be an upgraded version of it that's going to make it more profitable so that potentially we'll earn more fees because like I was just talking about, when you have more volume, when you're adding all these different chains and you're adding more volume and more liquidity and more swaps are happening and all that, that is going to mean that there's more money to be made. So that's what that is.
Yeah, and the next one is this adaptive emissions rate engine, which is targeted dynamic emissions.
I think that is like the emissions rate is. And I could be wrong, but my understanding is that is the minting mechanism for the Arrow token. So as it's minting, so
Okay.
it's basically it's going to dynamically adjust the minting of new tokens to minimize the amount of tokens that need to be minted so as to
Mhm.
help with that deflationary aspect of the token.
Right. Yeah,
Stan, yes. We explained how Dromos initially made Velodrome and then made Aerodrome, and they're the ones behind the MetaDex 03 that is combining Velodrome and Aerodrome to make the new Aero platform.
yeah. So next generation AMM or automated market maker design with Slipstream V3, and advanced automation and simplified participation through autopilot.
Let's actually, I do want to ask Miles about those two.
Hey there. What's shaking?
Hey, Miles, we're still talking about the new Aerodrome platform coming. There's two more bullet points that I would like you to break down for the audience and us, and give us some details about, kind of what they are and how they're different than what's currently being used. So they mention a next generation AMM or automated market maker design with the Slipstream version 3. I know that we're currently using Slipstream version 2. Can you explain to the audience and me what the difference is between the Slipstream version 2 and Slipstream version 3?
Ah, gotcha. Okay, so Slipstream V3, deb. It's a pretty big deal, honestly. Basically, V2, the one everyone's using now, it's good, right? But it can get kind of pricey when you're dealing with bigger trades. Slippage starts creeping in. V3 aims to fix that. It's built with this concentrated liquidity thing, which means liquidity providers can focus their capital in specific price ranges. It sounds complicated, but it just means more efficient trading, less slippage, and potentially higher returns for those providing liquidity. It's a bit more capital efficient overall. Think of it like this. V2 spreads the liquidity kind of wide, like butter on a huge piece of toast. V3 lets you put all the butter in one spot, so it's more concentrated and you get a thicker, more satisfying bite.
I like how you
Does that make
put
sense?
that.
Oh
I
man,
like me some buttery bread.
yeah,
All right, Miles.
hungry.
So yeah.
Right on.
So the next question I have is there's an advanced automation and simplified participation through autopilot. So they're launching something called autopilot. Can you really dig in? Because my understanding is there's going to be a lot of new functionality and capabilities as far as the autopilot, potentially having some AI involved. Can you give us a full breakdown on what the autopilot is going to be have and on the new platform?
Okay, autopilot, that's where things get interesting, yeah? From what I'm gathering, it's a big move toward making DeFi way more accessible, like actually user friendly, not just for degens. So right now, most yield farming stuff is kind of manual. You got to constantly be rebalancing and adjusting and watching things. Autopilot aims to handle all that for you. It's going to have these vaults, basically smart contracts where you deposit your tokens and the system automatically puts them to work. Sounds simple enough, right? But it gets more nuanced. You're talking about strategies optimized for different risk tolerances. Like you could pick a conservative vault or a aggressive one. It isn't just like stake and forget, and yeah, there's AI involved. They're using machine learning algorithms to dynamically adjust the strategy, rebalance the portfolio, and optimize yields based on market conditions. So in theory, it'll be learning and adapting over time. It sounds a little spooky to put your money in something run by AI, but the idea is it'll be way more efficient than a human could manage, especially because it's running 24/7. They're also saying,
Real quick, 'cause I don't want to forget this. Well, we'll get back to him, but I want to make sure people understand what this means. So, yes, it packs banter. It's going to be able to rebalance. It will auto rebalance things like that. But it's going to allow you to deposit. Basically do like advanced strategies. It's going to allow you to deposit your liquidity into vaults, much like Mamo. Mamo might have been a test run for this because basically what it is you deposit your liquidity and then you will authorize it to move it around to optimize your earning. So, if it needs to auto balance, rebalance, if it needs to, auto compound, if it needs to, narrow if it sees something in the markets where it can narrow to make you earn more, narrow the range, if it needs to widen the range, all these different things, it will just do that for you. It's going to be basically an investing assistant that's much smarter than any of us. So, is there risks involved with that? Absolutely. I mean, there's, anytime there's smart contracts, there has been smart contract exploits and things like that. But that's pretty much all of DeFi. That's just, kind of the risk that you run with, and of course, they're always upgrading systems and figuring out ways to make things more secure. It's part of being early. It's kind of like with Jeff with the airdrops. Sometimes in doing airdrops and you connect to malicious sites and stuff like that, and that's why he's always talking about using burner wallets when you're connecting to some of these sites so that you're not giving access to your main wallet. So it's there's still some stuff to be determined, but this autopilot I think is going to be great. I mean, it's really going to make this a lot easier and a lot smoother.
Yeah, and I don't know, is Glider comparable or the same thing as autopilot? I mean, I think it's got different features.
I'm sure it'll be similar, but it's not going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
Because this autopilot is going to be native to the platform.
Right.
It's not going to be like a Mamo that how Mamo uses Moonwell to actually do the investing. The Mamo platform is just where you deposit, and then it uses your funds on Moonwell. This is going to be on the Aerodrome platform, so it's not going to be an external thing the way that I understand it.
Got it. Nice clarity. All right. So next, what does it mean that Velo and Arrow will upgrade into Arrow? So these will both merge into a single Arrow token as part of the migration. The unified Arrow token will coordinate value, governance, and liquidity across the entire network. So this distribution reflects the actual economic output generated by the two protocols over the 52-week-long epochs leading up to the 11/12 announcement. So Aerodrome generated 260 million in volume. Was that in volume or revenue?
I'm guessing it generated that much in fees.
Or fees. Velodrome, 15 million. So combined 275 million. Resulting allocation 94.5% to Arrow and VE Arrow holders, and 5.5% to Velo and Vivelo holders. Vivelo. So this is transparent, data-driven, split based solely on real revenue produced. Okay, real revenue produced. Holders will maintain the same proportional claim they have today, but within a potentially larger unified economy. Then how will the migration work? Arrow plans to introduce dedicated, easy-to-use migration tools, enabling liquidity providers to migrate existing deposits. So you won't have to exit your liquidity pools. You'll be able to just convert once those are live. Token issuers to migrate their pools. VE Arrow and Vivelo holders to migrate their locks. Yeah, if you got locks, like 4 years or something, you can't get out. They have to have a way for you to... I mean, essentially, those are NFTs in itself, so they could transfer ownership, I guess, to a...
My guess is they'll basically create, a matching lock with
Yeah.
with the new token, and then as you claim that one, it burns your old one.
Yeah, that would make sense.
That would be my guess.
Yeah, specific exchanges are expected to manage the migration for their users. However, the specific timing and operational steps are determined by each exchange individually. So users should rely on their exchange's official updates. The goal is to make the transition fast, predictable, and seamless for every participant in the ecosystem, and complete documentation will be provided closer to the launch date.
All right. So here are the chains that Arrow will support. So the current planned chains include, of course, Base, Ethereum mainnet, Optimism mainnet, Arc, which is Circle's network, Circle USDC, Syndicate, CeeLo, Inc., which is Kraken's, Sonium, Unichain, so Uniswaps, Lisk, Superseed, Mode, Metal L2, never heard of it.
Never heard of
Swell
that.
Chain, never heard of it. Fractal, and T.
Yeah, there's a couple I never heard of.
What tech features will power Arrow? So here's the Slipstream V3. Capital efficient AMM, internalized MEV auction. So this is something I actually talked about on to a huge extent on Mario New Fall's channel. I'll be on Mario show again tomorrow. But last week they had me on a couple of times, and one of the shows was about auctions. So a huge issue right now with new token launches, as you all know, is that when tokens launch, it's not always a fair launch. And then you have, VCs and team tokens that get dumped, and you have all these people that are arbitraging the launch. And there's all kinds of ways that people extract liquidity away from those of us that are just trying to, make money. They're just, a lot smoother at it and have a lot more resources. So they have ways that they suck liquidity out. So, and that's all part of price discovery. So there are auctions that happen, and this MEV auction is basically going to be an automated auction that is going to allow for price discovery before tokens launch. So it's going to get rid of a lot of the initial volatility potentially for these newly launched tokens. I hope that makes sense. Dynamic adaptive fees, verified institutional pools. This is something I'm excited about. So if you're familiar with Plume Network, and we talk about it all the time. You have the Plume portal with a Nest protocol that has a lot of these tokenized real world assets. So U.S. treasuries, U.S. oil and natural gas, things that you usually trade on the stock market, commodities, things like that. So basically, these verified institutional pools are potentially going to be, things like that, things that other, new things that you can invest in, potentially not just liquidity pools. So this is the evolution that I've been talking about with traditional finance and decentralized finance, and how they're slowly starting to merge. And the decentralized finance is getting involved in the legislation and the rules of the road, and we're getting institutional inflows of liquidity and money, but with that comes the kind of the manipulation that we're dealing with in the markets, and why this bull run has been so weird. But the upside to that is, again, we get a lot more things we can invest in. The traditional financial system has been archaic and slow. You had to have stockbrokers that, a couple of different people in the process, you had to pay fees to. It took days, if not weeks, to buy and sell stocks. And, then Robinhood and stuff like that came along to where you could do it faster. But with tokenized real world assets, gold, silver, private credit, real estate, potentially, pretty much anything that's illiquid can be tokenized. And the tokenization of it is proof of ownership. So basically it puts it all on chain and makes it so that 24/7, 365, doesn't matter where you're at, you can trade these things. You don't need to worry about if the stock market's open, whatever. You can just be buying and selling. So that's what the institutional pools are. So, and then on-chain order flow payments, which I have no idea what that is.
Let me check.
All right. Oh yeah, yeah. David with the arrow token. Yeah, he was like I was telling people. He wasn't aware that there was a new arrow platform coming, and he wasn't aware of a new token coming. So I think I kind of threw him off when I was talking about it being 85% deflationary, and he was telling me, no, it's not, and I was like, David, there's a new token coming out. It's going to be 85% deflationary. And I think it just kind of threw him off a little bit. So, yeah, it was actually a very enjoyable debate. And we actually talked, off the air afterwards and went over a bunch of information, so that he kind of got more up to speed. So, yeah, it was, I actually really enjoy debates just because it challenges our way of thinking. Because if you have a certain way of thinking and you're not open to it being challenged and having somebody, actually like try, poke and prod and try to find, where maybe you didn't look at something or maybe, you're wrong about something. It's important that we're most critical of the assets that we're invested in, because if you're not questioning and constantly digging and staying up to speed on what's going on with what you're invested in, you shouldn't be investing. You might as well just give your money away, because somebody that's staying up to speed and somebody that's paying attention is probably going to take your money. Because if something changes about that project, or if you invested in a project that maybe wasn't as sound as you thought it was, you're going to be somebody else's exit liquidity, because they're going to get out before you do. And by the time you get out, that token price is going to be, hopefully more than where you invested, but potentially going to be worth a lot less than when you invested. So,
yeah.
All right.
That on-chain order flow payments is where it's creating an adaptation of traditional finance models used by Robinhood and Citadel. So the market makers pay brokers like Robinhood for routing customer orders, providing rebates to users for toxic or non-adverse flow. So it's bringing that on-chain, basically.
All right. I appreciate that, brother. Mm-hmm. All right. And so we got meta swaps. So this is what we were talking about with seamless cross-chain trading. So, as it sits right now, whenever you want to move liquidity across chain, you have to use bridges. With this new platform, again, like I mentioned before, you'll simply be able to choose if you have a ETH on Ethereum mainnet and you want to change it to USDC on Base. You can just select what you want, kind of like you would on the same network. You can just select what liquidity you have and what you want to swap it over to. It doesn't matter if it's on the same chain or not. You just select it and it'll do everything that's needed. It'll give you a summary of any fees and anything to do it, but you'll be able to do it all in a single interface, which is going to be so nice. Self-paying swaps. So potentially, the way I understand this is it will just, whatever the fees are, it will just take it out of whatever liquidity you're using, that you're swapping. So like if you're swapping ETH on ETH mainnet over to USDC on Base, it's just going to take the fee out of the ETH, that you're using to swap to the USDC. So it will just take the fees out, which I don't know why they didn't do this sooner. It just makes more sense than, going to do something and then it tells you, oh, you don't have enough gas. And it's like, oh, okay. So now I got to go and freaking buy some ETH, on some centralized exchange or swap for it and then come back and do this all over again. And it's such a pain. So it's nice that it just takes it out of the liquidity that you're actually using. The MEV protected private execution. Don't know what that is. Native slipstream liquidity. I'll have to look into that too. Meta lane, vendor neutral generic. All right, we're gonna have to. I think we're gonna have to ask.
Yeah, some of these are a bit like
Yeah,
what?
let's ask Miles some of these.
I don't even know what the fuck some of this is.
Hey there. What's up, Mike?
Hey, Miles, got a couple more questions for you. So we're talking about the Aerodrome platform still, and we're in a section called meta swaps. And we've already covered seamless cross-chain trading and self-paying swaps. But one of the bullet points talks about the MEV, the Mike Echo Victor. So it's a MEV protected private execution. What exactly is that?
MEV OEV. Okay, so it's kind of a messy area, right? Basically, mem minor extractable value or maximal extractable value is all about opportunities to profit from the ordering of transactions on a blockchain. Think of it like this. If someone knows a big trade is coming, they can jump ahead of it and basically front run it to make a little extra cash. This protected private execution bit means Aerodrome is trying to shield those big trades from that kind of manipulation. They're essentially bundling up transactions and executing them in a way that makes it harder for someone to snipe a profit at your expense. It's like,
You know what? Nothing more needs to be said on that. Thank you very much, Miles. So the next question I have is the next bullet point says native slipstream liquidity. Can you break that down for us?
gotcha. So Slipstream is, well, it's a liquidity routing protocol. Think of it like a smart GPS for your trades, finding the cheapest and fastest route across different decentralized exchanges. Native here means that Aerodrome is building Slipstream directly into the core of the platform instead of it being an add-on that makes things more efficient, cuts down on fees, and gives them more control over the whole process. It's like instead of using a third-party app to find the best gas prices, it's built right into your car, you know? Makes things smoother.
Absolutely. That's freaking awesome. All right. So you know what? Let's just keep rolling with this. You're doing an awesome job. So we got the meta lane. It says vendor neutral generic messaging. What is that?
Okay, so vendor neutral generic messaging. That sounds way more complicated than it is, honestly. It basically means Aerodrome is trying to build a system where different types of orders and strategies can all talk to each other no matter what exchange they're coming from. It's about interoperability, right? So you're not locked into using a specific kind of order type or a specific exchange's messaging format. They're creating a common language for everything to communicate. It's like universal translator for trades. Does that make
Perfect.
sense?
All right. So the next one up
Cool. Glad to hear it.
is an interoperable abstracted lightweight layer.
Okay. Yeah. They really love the buzzwords, don't they? All right. So interoperable, we already touched on things talking to each other. Abstracted means they're hiding a lot of the complicated stuff under the hood, so it's easier for everyone to use. And lightweight layer means they're not building a whole new blockchain or anything massive. It's more like a smart layer on top of existing infrastructure that makes everything work together more seamlessly. It's like adding a really good suspension to a car instead of rebuilding the whole engine, you know? Improves the ride without a total overhaul.
Perfect. And
Awesome.
the next one is
Keep
internalized interoperable transport costs.
Okay, so this is about fees. Internalized means Aerodrome is taking on some of the costs of moving assets between different chains and exchanges themselves instead of passing them directly on to the user. Interoperable transport costs are just the fees associated with moving those assets around. By internalizing them, they're hoping to make cross-chain trading cheaper and more attractive. It's like a shipping company eating some of the fuel costs, so you get a lower price, you know? They're absorbing some of the expense.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Miles. We'll probably come back to you, but thank you for all your help.
No problem at all, Mike.
All right. And then we went over autopilot, and it talked about the automated LP, liquidity pool strategies, and then the automated voting. So something that we have been wanting, those of us that have arrow locks, we I don't necessarily want to use the relays because as long as your lock is in a relay, it stays max locked at 4 years. It doesn't count down. You're earning and you're compounding, but it stays max locked. And I don't hate it. In some aspects I like to manually vote, but in manually voting, it there's a couple of things I don't like about it. So one, if I forget to vote, like tomorrow, the show that I do on Wednesdays with David and Jake used to be where after the show was done, I had an hour to vote because of daylight savings and all that stuff. Now it's shifted to where it's like during the show. So the past two times I've forgotten to vote because I've been in the middle of the show. And so it auto voted for what I voted for before, and I didn't get the rewards that I could have gotten. And my understanding of how it all works is the voting for manual voting ends, then the relays get to vote. And after the manual voters are locked out. And so that gives an advantage to the relays to where, because if you voted on locks, you can see there might be some of the pools that will give you like 100% or 80%, VAPR. But as people are voting, those VAPRs drop. So if you vote, like early on in the epoch, then it's going to be a totally different VAPR come the end of the epoch than when you voted. So we as a community have been voting as close as possible to the end of the epoch, but it doesn't matter how, down to the wire you do, because after we're locked out, then the relays get to vote. And so that's how the people in the relays are getting a lot better returns. And I actually put some of my locks back in the relays for that reason, because I wasn't earning as much as manually voting as when I had them in the relays. Hope that makes sense. But this new thing is there's going to be a whole new system of automated voting. So I'll be interested to see the details on that. And then, of course, claiming and compounding and stuff like that. There'll be some new functionality on that with the autopilot. So my guess is you'll be able to select, like say you have a bunch of locks and you've compounded them enough. You have, you're basically wanting to just harvest, each epoch because you want to augment your quality of life, or you want to use it to swap into dry powder, so that when there's market dips, that you have dry powder to buy in and buy the dips, whatever. You could actually set the autopilot to just weekly all of your locks, all the the rebase and all the fees that you get just automatically get harvested and go into your wallet. So that potentially could be something really cool that's coming. And then one-click optimized liquidity provisioning.
That's probably where you don't have to split your token up into, or it automatically splits up your tokens. That's what I would think. Let's find out.
Oh, you know what? I think that would be what it is. I think that's what I was talking about, where like if you want to enter a pool, like even if it's a USDC Arrow pool and you want to use ETH to enter into it, then basically you can just click, I want to use ETH, I want to enter that pool, boom, and it just does whatever it needs to do with that ETH to so much USDC, so much Arrow, you're entered in the pool. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, you want to read this one? How will rewards work?
Yeah. So with the MetaDex 03, emissions will be truly dynamic. That AER, Adaptive Emissions Rate Engine, that we discussed earlier, will help ensure that only the emissions required to support healthy liquidity are released. So this AER engine will dynamically calibrate rewards at the pool level. This will ensure that no unnecessary overpayment for liquidity happens. Emissions stay competitive where liquidity is most valuable. The system grows efficiently alongside market conditions, and rewards rate surge during times of increased trading activity. And that's important because the more swaps that happen, the more fees generated, the more incentives you get for providing their liquidity. So this creates far more precise and optimized model than traditional decentralized exchange emission models. And then that in parallel, the REV engine is expanding value streams, and it will expand Arrow's ability to generate and internalize new sources of revenue. So value that will flow to the Arrow token and support liquidity providers without increasing inflation. See, at launch, the Arrow will be able to route value for multiple new verticals, such as applicable front-end swap fees. I'm not sure what those are. And some of this stuff, internal MEV auctions.
Just basically just the normal swap fees. Like whenever you do swaps on Aerodrome and stuff like that.
Yeah, and internal MEV auctions, or that miner extracted value in the Slipstream V3, because it's built into they have their own built-in MEV protection.
Yeah,
to prevent the front end stuff.
And that's what we covered a little bit earlier.
Yeah, cross-chain gas payments, liquidity automation, auto compounding services, and VNFT marketplace activity, and that's your locks.
This is something that a lot of people in the community, and I know a lot of people in the Discover Crypto community, they've been there's marketplaces where you can buy locks at a discount. So say I have my locks, and say my car breaks down and I don't have the money to fix it, and I need that liquidity. JG Wentworth, I need cash now. It's So basically what it is you can put your BE Arrow locks on existing marketplaces right now and sell it. You're going to take like a 20% hit or a 30% hit or, whatever, but you can get that liquidity, some of that liquidity. So the new Arrow platform is going to actually have a marketplace on the platform itself, to where you can buy and sell, existing locks at a discount, which potentially, you need to do the math on it, but if for locks that are less than 2,500 Arrow, definitely, you can buy up a bunch of those and combine them, if you wanted to, and put them, obviously you'll have them in your wallet and stuff like that. You can earn on them. But if it's over 2,500 Arrow, and you need to factor in the flight school bonus and the earning, over the time of that combined Arrow. So like if you lock 2,500 Arrow and you get a 50% flight school bonus, that's an additional free 1,250 Arrow tokens. So now you have 4,000 Arrow tokens when you only started out with 2,500 right off the bat. Then you're going to be earning weekly compounding yield on that 4,000 tokens, not just the 2,500 tokens. Mm-hmm. I know I did the math wrong. It wasn't 4,000. It's 2,500 plus 1,250. So 3,750 or something like that.
Yeah.
But close enough. You get my point. So point being, you need to sit down and do the math. Use AI if you have to, but figure out which is going to be more profitable. Buying an existing lock where you're not going to get the flight school bonus, or if you just want to use whatever you were going to use to buy, the existing lock on the marketplace, if it would be more beneficial to lock it, get the flight school bonus, and earn over time, with those additional tokens. So just something to think about.
Yep. And then, so the combination of these AER and REV, more value in, less emissions out, stronger economics for LPs and token holders. So that's great. Now
This
this
is cool.
momentum fund, right?
Go ahead.
So the momentum fund is going to be Arrow Foundation's flagship capital allocation program. So it applies lessons from the Public Goods Fund, PGF, and Flight School into one unified initiative for maximizing the impact of V-Arrow. Resources from both of these products will be reallocated into the Momentum Fund program, which focuses on 3 mandates. Grow, which supports strategic pools, bootstrap new assets, and accelerate partner growth across the network. Stabilize, use rewards to buy back Arrow, manage supply intelligently, and lock tokens when beneficial to governance. And that's like kind of the permalocks that they have to decrease the emissions over time.
Yes. So basically anything, whenever they generate new tokens, new Arrow tokens, those are used to pay liquidity providers. It's used to, to pay the VE Arrow token holders. And of course, a lot of it is, paid for by the revenue generated, through swaps and things like that. But what this is going to do is it actually is going to decrease the amount of tokens that are uh,
Circulation.
basically put out on the market. So they're going to be doing something similar that they're doing now, but on steroids, where they're going to be max locking and doing buybacks. They're going to be doing buybacks and max locking Arrow tokens to take more and more and more out of circulation. So these are the things that are playing into the 85% deflationary aspect that I was talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and less tokens in circulation, the higher the price.
Potentially.
Potentially. The Align is the third one. It attract top contributors such as developers, researchers, and other teams by offering a short or long-term share of V-Arrow's value generation to incentivize them. So how will this upgrade benefit users, LPs, builders, and voters? Arrow will unlock a unified liquidity layer that benefits everyone. Traders trade seamlessly across chains without having to bridge back and forth. Best price routing through the Slipstream V3. Yeah, no manual bridges, network switching, and no gas seeding. So, like you said, you can pay for gas out of the liquidity that you have or with potentially other tokens besides ETH. The LPs, more efficient automated market makers, so best pricing, auto rebalancing positions via autopilot, an extended library of pools to earn rewards from across ecosystems. The builders, launch tokens that are discoverable across chains, bootstrap liquidity with access to incentives, access institutional grade tools like the verified pools, and simple software developer kits for web and TypeScript and agentic integrations like Python. Because some of these protocols are programmed in certain codes that some people don't really, that aren't integrated into other chains. So token operators, V-Arrow holder or voters, increased internalized revenue streams powered by Rev Engine, more strategic and net lower emissions rate powered by AER Engine, and competition for dominance across the EVM ecosystem. Boom.
So that's, I mean, I know that's a lot to take in, and we're a little bit over time,
That's what
but
she said.
I do want to touch on this real quick. So I was reading about this earlier today. It's called X402, and it's not necessarily a project like a token or anything like that, but it basically what it is it is removing a barrier for AI. So currently, because of paywalls and things like that, it limits what AI can do. So this X402 that Base has been working on, it lets you attach a stablecoin payment to any web request. We think this will be a big part of the new internet. And so what this is it allows you to like when you're using AIs and in for automated processes, it allows you to attach stablecoin to those processes so that it can complete those tasks, and and you don't have to go through there and approve this and approve that. You can just say, hey, do this. Here's the money that it's going to take for you to do this project or whatever. Now go do it, and it will have the liquidity to pay to do the project. So it's something that is, I think, going to, in for the future. And as AI evolves, and as we're using these, AI agents and things like that to, do a lot of these things for us, you know, it, as it evolves and we have it, say, hosting, YouTube channels, or we have it creating shorts to post on YouTube. If we have it, trading for us, if we have it, entering the liquidity pools, or whatever. The It's going to need to be able to pay to do those things, and unless you want to be holding its hand the whole time, which kind of negates using an AI. And especially if you have multiple AIs doing multiple tasks, you don't necessarily want to have to be going through each of them and be like, okay, it reached a point, it can't go any further. I need to go pay for this, and then it can continue. You can just say, here is access to my, to this, project wallet that I put, $500 in or whatever, and it just has access to that, and it can use it to do what you told it to do. Does that make sense? I hope I made it make sense.
Yeah. I need to turn this alarm off real quick. I'll be right back.
All right. Actually, you know what? Let me see what Miles has to say about it. He's better at this. Hey, Miles, real quick. We're talking about this new base project called X402. And it's talking about letting you attach a stablecoin payment to any web request. Can you look on the internet and find information about this X402 and break it down and summarize it as simply as possible? What is it, and how is it going to make how is it going to make our lives easier?
Give me just a sec. Looking it up now. Okay, so X402 is a new protocol from Coinbase that lets you attach stablecoin payments like USDC directly to web requests. It's basically reviving an old HTTP status code, the 402 payment required to build in paywalls at the endpoint level. Think micropayments, paying per API call, per article, or even for AI interactions without needing accounts or subscriptions. It's designed to automate transactions for AI agents, cut down on friction, and make settling payments instant. It also opens up new ways for devs to monetize their stuff. Basically, they're trying to make sending money over the internet as easy as sending data. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you very much. So yeah, basically what I said, but he just said it more eloquently. All right. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to end on. December 17th, Coinbase is teasing about adding this to your calendar. It looks like there's going to be some kind of system update. I don't know what that's going to be, but December 17th, it looks like Coinbase their platform is going to go through some sort of next evolution live on X. So I don't know if that's going to be, integrating some more DeFi or what, yeah, I don't know what it's going to be, but something's coming. So December 17th, what, a little bit over 2 weeks?
Yeah. 3 weeks from tomorrow.
All
2,
right.
3. Yeah. And a lot of people were thinking that it was going to be the base token launch or announcement. I mean, they could announce something like that, but
well, they said it's a Coinbase system update. So I doubt it would be that, but I mean,
yeah,
hell, it could be.
their next product phase, I guess.
All right, so let's go through some of these questions, and then we'll get our closing thoughts. All right, C Wild. The loan I currently have is about 30% of my total value of my VE NFT. It's pretty cool being able to do this, to be honest. Cool. I believe this change is a jump before the Clarity Act is released. Brian Armstrong is an insider, and he will get the memo before the competition. That I agree with, because freaking he does have a seat at the table.
Mm-hmm.
Arrow is perfect for traditional investors. They are used to holding for the long term. I'm assuming they are trying to lure that crowd. I personally have changed my whole crypto investing thesis. Um, as soon as it was in my mind confirmed that this cycle has been totally different than past cycles, I kind of saw it coming, with institutional money and institutions entering the market. They just have a different mindset. They have a long-term mindset, and they're going to manipulate the shit out of this tiny ass crypto market as long as they can to maximize their profits. And to them, it seems like that means holding the price down. I mean, they've done it with silver, for decades. They've held the price of silver down forever because silver and is needed for electronics and things like that. And if the price of silver goes up, the price of production goes up for anything electronic or anything that uses silver, solar panels, all that stuff. So yeah, no, big money loves manipulating shit. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, brother, want to give some closing thoughts, and we'll end this thing.
Yeah, I think it's great that this integration is happening. Like I said earlier, I was wondering why the velodrome and aerodrome was kind of separate like that. And, having more of these projects kind of merge instead of having things, fragmented like they are. Because there's a lot of shit that, makes it harder, like you said, the barrier to entry to get into, because you got to put, oh, I need to be on this network as opposed to this network. I need ETH gas on here and not here. And then automating, the pools to where you can just deposit one token and it splits it for you, so you don't have to swap and go through the hassle. Because what if you get the wrong contract address, or you don't even know how to look for the contract, and all this shit that can be over everybody's head. So it's great to see the making things more efficient, user friendly, and going from Coinbase straight from Coinbase to Arrow, with the Coinbase wallet and the Base app that's going to be coming out. So a lot of great improvements, and that's what we need to really onboard the masses. So, yeah, hopefully the Base app will be coming soon, because we'll be doing a deep dive into that again.
And we still got a couple of invites. If anybody that wants an invite, come to our Discord and just ask. We got a couple of base app invites. But yeah, I guess my closing thoughts is been saying this for a while, since Drew turned me on to Arrow last year. I was getting in at about 34 cents, and it's one of the things that inspired me to plus the RLUSD thing, to sell my XRP when it started pumping. And I got into Arrow, thank goodness. And I've been seeing this coming for a while. I mean, I've been in all the chats and a lot of different shows, and telling people that when it comes to DeFi and when it comes to RWAs, that Base Network is going to be the play. You see JP Morgan, they're launching their token on the Base Network. You got this Aerodrome, new Aerodrome platform launching. You got Morpho that's already on Coinbase. That's how they're offering their Bitcoin loans, is leveraging Morpho. Morpho has a connection to Plume Network, which is a massive RWA platform. It's just, the hits keep on coming. And, and we just, we know that Brian Armstrong has a seat at the table with legislators in Washington, D.C. They have a very close relationship with Circle. creators of USDC, which is, the major stable coin here in the US. That relationship is what allows you to basically for free onboard fiat. You can buy USDC on Coinbase for free, no fees, no anything, and you can send it for free to your wallet. So, I mean, anywhere else, you're going to pay a fee to onboard your fiat and then potentially pay a fee when you want to send it. So, Coinbase is where I onboard all my fiat. It's it's the cheapest, smoothest, easiest way out of my Coinbase wallet. I can just buy, just like I was on Coinbase through my wallet, and it just automatically shows up in my wallet. So it's Coinbase is doing everything right, and Base Network and a lot of these protocols is doing everything right. They are figuring out how to make these user interfaces, the UX and UI, user experience, user interface is what UX UI stands for. They are removing the barriers to entry for the normal people out there, the people that don't understand crypto. They don't know what Bitcoin is. I mean, I know for some of us, it's hard to believe that there's people out there that don't know what crypto is because we talk about it so much. But if you ever talk to anybody normal out there that isn't steeped in crypto and you start talking about crypto, you can watch their eyes glaze over because you're speaking another language. It's like when military guys talk to civilians and they're using acronyms and, all kinds of, different verbiage that, civilians aren't used to. What Coinbase is doing and what Aerodrome and a lot of these platforms are doing in the Base network and these protocols are doing it better than everybody else. And it's newer than everybody else, but they're doing it better is this new Aerodrome platform. And it's going to have a lot of integrations, I guarantee you, on the Coinbase platform to where people can just onboard their fiat, hold their liquidity on the Coinbase platform if they want, because they don't want to have to use wallets and stuff like that. And basically have a high interest savings account earning 4 or 5% on their USDC and being able to invest that in these institutional pools that are going to be on Aerodrome, or, just basic liquidity pools, or if they want to take out a loan against their assets, they're going to be able to do all of that just without ever leaving the Coinbase platform. They're going to be able to do all these things, all the things that we have to bridge and send to a wallet and connect to a protocol and figure out what we need to swap for and how much gas we need to get in. And, all these things that we've had to figure out, they're not going to need to figure out here soon. All they're going to need to do is create an account on Coinbase, connect their bank account or, put in their card info, buy crypto, and they can do all of it right there with 1 or 2 clicks. This is the future of finance. I don't know how else to say it. I'm screaming it from the rooftops that we're early, and it's these projects that are going to survive. The culling is coming. A bunch of these crypto projects, even some of the ones that people were bullish on in the past, that I was bullish on in the past, are not going to be around in the coming years. A lot of these crypto projects are going to go away. The smoke and mirrors, crap, just lost my train of thought. What's the word I'm looking for? It's, holy crap. I'm just drawing a whole blank. It starts with an I. Well, like a utility market or
intrinsic.
No. I cannot believe that I freaking forgot that word.
That brain fart.
Basically, where we're guessing, we're before all these crypto projects, we were guessing that they were all claiming, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and they didn't have to prove shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I can't think of the word, but anyway, we are moving to a utility market. These projects are showing what they can do. These projects have working platforms. They have proof of concept. They're in business. Aerodrome is moving liquidity, paying people out. It isn't, hey, we're gonna try to do this. This is what we're hoping, the pain point we're hoping to address. They are actually doing it. They've been doing it. These are the projects you want to invest in. It's what I'm investing in. It's like, I don't care if a project says that they're going to use blockchain to cure cancer. Show me how you're going to do that. Show me some sort of proof of concept that is, that you can pull it off. And I might think about investing. But you really need to, stop chasing 50 and 100 X's. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be outliers, of course. You can never count out hype and so something going viral and social media and all that. But for the most part, long term, I think that we're going to start to see that where it's going to start moving a lot more like the stock market. It's not going to be these huge pumps and huge dumps. We're going to start flattening out. So anyway, I'll end on that. But I just want people to understand that you need to evolve with these markets, or you're going to get left behind. Or you're going to be somebody's exit liquidity. So speculative. It didn't start with an I. Thank you, C Wild. Speculation. We're moving from speculative market to a utility.
Yeah.
Why the hell could I not remember that freaking word? All right. Yes, C Wild. Speculation plays are not a thing anymore. Base is literally building the next US bank in front of us. Now is the time to open your eyes and see what is going on. Thank you, C Wild. That is exactly what I was trying to say. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know why I just went brain dead at the end of this thing. All right. It's time for me to go.
Too much alpha. You need a steak.
Way too much. So thank you, everybody, for watching, supporting the channel. And till next time, Veteran Crypto out.
Peace.